Hello, interwebs. My name is Andrew. It is really good to be here and talk to you. I just got back from seeing Suicide Squad, and I tried to film a review like 5 minutes ago, and I was giving out all this like technical stuff, who directed it, who produced it, and I just kind of thought to myself, you know what? I'm just gonna go from the gut and say what I think about this movie. But yeah, I just got back. I saw it today. Suicide Squad, brand new movie with Jared Leto, Margot Robbie, Will Smith, a bunch of other guys who come together on a really interesting concept. Basically, bad guys taking on the missions of good guys because, well, a bunch of complicated things I don't want to spoil. But basically, the government holds these people against their will and says, you are going to complete this mission. Um, Basically, because at the end of Batman and Superman, we're left with the idea that Superman can't take on challenges anymore that he used to be able to take on. I don't know how to put that. And so who's going to stop these ridiculous, big, catastrophic things when they happen? So they decided to recruit some of the most terrible supervillains they could find. And it really comes up with an interesting concept and an interesting movie. So, where to begin? Where does my gut stand with this? I thought it was better than Batman versus Superman. I'll be honest. I walked out of Batman versus Superman. Oh, and by the way, these movies are connected. It's all part of the DC universe, the new DC universe. So that's why I'll keep referencing Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel and stuff like that. But I thought it was better than Batman versus Superman. Granted, I walked out of Batman versus Superman fuming because of just how much Zack Snyder and company tried to take on in that movie, and I thought that they bit off more than they can chew in that movie. Is that the case with this movie? No, it's not. It's not too ambitious like Batman versus Superman is. It's actually, like I said, it's a really cool concept with actually really great actors and actresses, and it's an interesting movie. It's got a lot of pros, but it's got its cons. It's Did I think it was a great movie? No, but I thought it was better than Batman versus Superman. So I'll start with the pros. Um, First and foremost, I apologize. There are some of the characters' names I probably won't remember. I just got out of the movie, and I'm not a big comics guy, so I didn't read these comics or anything. But from what I've heard, it's very similar to the comics the way they did the movie. So if I forget a character's name, forgive me. Or you can roast me up in the comments. I don't really care. But pros. First and foremost, the cast, especially Will Smith, Margot Robbie, and Jared Leto. I thought Will Smith did a great job as Deadshot. What they established with Deadshot is they established a cold blooded character who's really good at what he does and has a soft side and has his not necessarily a tragic flaw, but he has something that hinders his ability to get things done, which is good because it shows that a character isn't perfect. It gives them a human side that that is which is good, especially in characters because characters, I mean, they're not real. If you can give them human elements, it makes you believe more about this character, makes you more invested in them. I was very invested in Deadshot. Um, so I really liked his character a lot. I thought the choice of Will Smith was really good. I thought he really did a good job. I haven't watched a Will Smith movie in a long time. I think the last one I watched was like I Am Legend or something. But I mean, I thought he did a great job in this movie as Deadshot, and I hope he comes back later down the line because they established something in this movie. I won't spoil it, but they established something in this movie with Will Smith that I think he can be coming back into the DC and Batman universe. So I definitely hope he comes back, even if just a little bit. Um, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was great. I really loved this casting. When I first heard it, I thought, wow, this can really be hit or miss, and she did a great job as Harley Quinn. She captured exactly what makes that character great. She captured the sexiness, the humor, just the craziness that Harley Quinn is. And last time I saw Margot Robbie act, she was in The Wolf of Wall Street playing Leonardo DiCaprio's wife, and I thought she did a great job. And I thought she was a really good actress. And she killed it in this role. I really enjoyed her performance, and I hope she comes back too. I really liked her character a lot. That being said, she's a little useless in combat. I mean, there's like big, gigantic monster shooting things up, and Harley Quinn's just chilling there with a bat. So, I mean, but nonetheless, I thought she contributed really well to this movie, and I liked her character a lot. So next, I have Jared Leto as the Joker. Now, one thing I don't like this movie did is they advertised it like the Joker was this huge character in this movie and that he's super important and that he's one of the main characters. He's barely in the movie. I mean, I saw that on the reviews before I saw this movie, and I want to go into it with an open mind. And they were right. He's barely in the movie. I mean, he's in the movie for like maybe 5 scenes or something like that. But I want to talk a little bit about this character because obviously he's succeeding Heath Ledger as the Joker, who was, I mean, incredible. I mean, he had a legendary performance, and not only just superhero cinema, but cinema in general. And do I think Leto compares? No, I don't. But I think he did a good job, and I think he did the character justice. I think that they were going for a different kind of Joker, and I think he succeeded in that role. I heard this on some of the reviews, and I completely agree with it. He was going with more of a mobster, gangster type of Joker, whereas Joker in the Nolan trilogy was going more for insane, just wanting to watch the world burn vibe, and it's completely different. Personally, I prefer Ledger because I think that style of movie was more for me, but I think Jared Leto was really good, and I hope he comes back too. So yeah, those are the main characters I'll cover. I would cover the other ones, but it'll take like 10 more minutes to cover each character. So pros in the movie is the cast. I enjoyed the cast, really did. I liked how some of the characters did just straight up cold blooded stuff. Like I think there was a lady who's named Waller who just shot FBI agents out of nowhere, and she was like a government lady. I really like the characters a lot. I mean, actually, I'll cover that in the cons. So, yeah, that was good, and now I'll go to the cons. But before I go to the cons, the pros made this movie pretty enjoyable. I enjoyed the movie for what it's worth. Yes, there's some cons, but the pros are pretty good too. So, anyways, cons. First and foremost, I'll say this outright, and I'm not saying this to trash this movie. I'm just saying my personal preference. I'm more of a Nolan type of DC fan. I'm not a big fan of where this DC universe is trying to go. They're really trying to go with things that are going to compete with Marvel and create these huge and grand displays of explosions and stuff. And I'm not a big fan of it. I prefer the more realistic type of movie they want to go for. I mean, no superhero movie is going to be realistic, but I mostly prefer like the Nolan type of movies, and to some extent, even where they were going with Man of Steel before the last hour of Man of Steel kicked in. I prefer those types of movies. So I wasn't a big fan of Batman Superman, and I thought Suicide Squad was okay. So my cons of this movie. Number one, there are things in this movie that don't really make any sense. And I know that says a lot. I mean, you're probably thinking, well, Andrew, it's Hollywood. They can't do things that make sense. They had an Apache helicopter full of villains and special forces guys just crash and flip over like 6 times, and then all the characters just walked out completely fine. Like, that made no sense to me. I understand it's Hollywood, and yes, at that point in the movie, I cared about the characters and I wanted them to do well. But if you're a Chinook helicopter and you literally fall out of the sky and turn over 6 times, and your characters walk out fine, like that just doesn't make any sense to me. And yeah, there are just a few things that don't really make much sense in this movie. But other cons, I thought the movie was. I don't think it bit off more than it could chew, like Batman Superman. But I did think it was a little kind of too grand and kind of exploded too quickly. For say, I don't think there was as much development of the characters together as I would have liked. Personally, like they kind of were just all together, and they're like, "Hey, what's up, Harley Quinn? Hey, what's up? I'm Deadshot." And like 5 minutes later, they're like, "These are my friends." we stand together. And I know there are some scenes in the movie that show like rocky relationships between the characters, but I think overall it kind of transitioned a little too smoothly. Um, but with that said, for what it's worth, I like the characters, and by the end of the movie, I was caring about the characters, and I actually kind of thought to myself during this movie, I was like, if there's going to be Batman versus these Suicide Squad characters, that's going to be tough because I love Batman, but I care about these characters. Like it really kind of invests you in the characters, which I think is something that this movie did really well. That being said, in terms of other cons, I wasn't a big fan of Enchantress as the villain. I thought that DC going with the more fantasy kind of route for an antagonist was kind of a misfire. I wasn't a big fan of Enchantress as a villain. Um, it just wasn't a good choice. I don't like the fact that they blew up just basically yet another city like they did with Metropolis and in Man of Steel. They just basically just decided to blow up another city, and I mean that's basically all it was. And another thing is, I mean, this obviously might sound it's strange because it's a Suicide Squad movie, but where the heck is Batman? I mean, this whole city is getting blown up. And from what I understand, Gotham City's not that far from Midway City or wherever they were. Where's Batman during all this? He's chilling in the cave, like, yeah, I hope the Suicide Squad characters just die. I understand they're his enemies or whatever, but if there's like a city blowing up and you're a superhero, what are you doing? But that just falls under my category of things that don't really make a whole lot of sense. So I could go on and on, but I'm already getting to a really long review, so bring it all together. Did I like this movie? I thought it was okay. I'm glad I saw it. Probably won't watch it again, but I'm glad I saw it. I just don't really like the direction that DC is going with this universe. I think it's a little too far fetched and really just kind of out there, and I think it's really ambitious, but I think it's ambitious because they're forcing it to compete with Marvel. And if they didn't worry about Marvel and they just took things at their own pace, I think this could have been a lot better. Like, honest to God, I really do. I think that they've come up with some really great characters in Deadshot and Harley Quinn and the Joker, who I hope to see again because I barely saw him in this movie. I think Ben Affleck is a great Batman. I really do, so I hope he comes back. But I hope that this DC universe goes at its own pace and they don't just do things because Marvel does things. And, but, oh well, it's a movie. It has its pros and cons. So, anyways, overall, out of 10, I'd probably give this movie like 5.5. Which is a lot better than I would give Batman Superman, because Batman Superman was like a 3. But I would definitely say go check it out. See the movie. See it once. I'm still looking forward to the Justice League movie. I'm really stoked for that. But yeah, thought this movie had its pros, had its cons, and looking forward to where they go with the universe. But wasn't. I mean, I didn't love this movie. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, and thank you very much.